Hi, I'm Budget Scale Modeling, and these fools sent me the wrong ship. Look at these. Do they even look remotely similar? Okay, they kind of do, but this is a completely different ship from the one I ordered. It's also an ugly block of resin with a bunch of cast pewter parts that look like they were shaken vigorously before being tossed into the box. They were also covered in weird little tags that are obviously some kind of casting defect. Seriously though, I opened the kit before I started filming and all the masts were completely bent over. I need to trim off all the support material and other garbage. This metal is so soft and pliable, I kinda want to stick it in my mouth and chew on it. After LARPing as the world's worst chiropractor, I continue with the assembly, cracking open a fresh new bottle of glue from some fella named Bob Smith. Now, I don't know nothing about no Bob Smith or his industries, but this is what my local hobby shop had, and Jeff Bezos has taken enough of my money this month. Instacure? We'll see about that, Bob. It's not drying. Why isn't it drying? I'm going to prop up the mast like this so I don't have to babysit it. I will now leave it here until something happens. Something has happened and the glue is now dry. Time to affix the rest of these baubles to my ship. I'll leave these lifeboats off because they don't appear in the official photos and because the directions are super vague about where I'm supposed to glue them to. Yeah, that looks about done. Now let's spray it with a coat of primer. It isn't looking any prettier. I should have noticed this earlier, but for some reason the darn thing can't sit flat. It also doesn't help that every time I look at it the wrong way, the masts bend again. You know what? I'm working on a different ship. This is going in the box of shame. Okay, so this is another ship from the same company I got that other resin kit from. It's the battleship USS Wyoming in her interwar configuration. I cracked it open and it was immediately hit with one of the worst smells I have ever smelled in all my years of smelling things. The smell of resin. This model could have used a bit more time in the curing chamber and a soak in isopropyl alcohol to clean off all this residue. I guess quality control just doesn't matter. Also, these instructions are awful. Anyways, it's time to liberate these parts from their support structures. There are a few ugly nubs to trim off the hull, so I do that first. The only upside to the resin being in this semi-flexible state is the fact that these little tiny bits are less fragile, so I will go ahead and remove them now. It's nice not to have to go boil water to do this. Maybe not curing it was a deliberate choice? Either way, these need some time in the sun to solidify. Now that I've done that, I can put the ship together. The majority of the assembly will be left until after I've painted it, because some spots will be inaccessible when the ship is fully assembled. For now, the rudder and propeller shafts are attached. I move on next to the ship's 6 twin 12-inch turrets, which are supplemented with these brass gun barrels. Unfortunately, I have to drill every single one of these myself as, again, there's no quality control. This goes poorly because I've never done it before, and also because my electric tool runs out of battery and I have to switch over to the old hand drill. I only had to drill out half of the turrets, but my goodness, I could feel the arthritis and carpal tunnel syndrome breathing down my neck with each twist. The rest of the ship's armament consists of these casement-mounted 5-inch guns all along the sides of the ship. At first, I thought there weren't many small parts, but I quickly realized that was because whoever packed this kit straight up forgot to put them in or something. While checking the instructions, I noticed that the kit is missing both the lifeboats and the float planes. I later realized that I was also missing the deck guns, aircraft catapults, and lifeboat davits. How wonderful. With that, the first phase is done and the ship is ready for primer. I'm not doing anything fancy to the hull because I refuse to put in more effort building this thing than the manufacturer did. Now it's time to paint this garbage barge. First, I'll hit every piece with some nice light gray. The lower hull receives a coat of vibrant red anti-fouling before I tape it off and hand apply a black boot stripe. Yes, it's crooked. No, I'm not fixing it. After that, it's time to paint the wooden deck with some nice leather brown. This might take a while, folks. If you're following along at home, make sure to stop every once in a while to clean off your brush and shake up the paint, otherwise the paint solidifies and becomes useless. The blast bags on the main guns are painted black. The upper decks get some dark sea blue paint. It would have been nice if they had bothered to include a paint guide, but oh well. Time for the final assembly. This is the part when I discovered that most of the parts don't fit together at all. I had to take a rotary tool to the mounts so they would be wide enough to fit the darn turrets. Just look at all that resin dust. If you do this for yourself, please use a respirator. That sucked. Time to wrap things up. The USS Wyoming may not have a career as star-studded or as glamorous as some of the other ships I've talked about. That's it. This ship is really boring. USS Wyoming, lead ship of the two-ship Wyoming class, was laid down in the Philadelphia dockyard of the William Cramp & Sons Shipbuilding Company in 1909. The ship acted as a convoy escort in the North Sea and briefly served as a temporary flagship of its battleship division because, get this, the USS New York, which had been the flagship, was receiving repairs in dry dock after hitting and sinking a U-boat. Between the wars, she became a training ship under new treaty-imposed limitations and was extensively demilitarized. Aside from rescuing a disabled submarine, she mostly sailed around Europe and North America training Navy crews. By World War II, the ship mostly stayed in Chesapeake Bay, and in 1944, her main guns were replaced with twin 5-inch dual-purpose turrets. She was, after all, a Navy training ship, and needed to adapt to the changing landscape of warfare in the Pacific, which is where most American sailors would end up. USS Wyoming fired more rounds than any other American ship during the war and trained more than 35,000 gunners. She was eventually scrapped in 1947.